man. So now you all family, y'all got the backdrop. We bringing it back to Davis. You heard of some of the work we did. So we have a similar program in New Jersey. It's called Equal Opportunity Fund (EOF). First generation students, bringing them in. But you did some work like that at Davis, right? Could you highlight that a little bit?
Yeah. And I think as a context to this, like, I'm very privileged where I came in as a Gates scholar and a Dell scholar. So I had like finances to give me a full ride,
Hmm.
right? But I quickly realized just because I'm able to afford an institution doesn't mean I know how to thrive in one. So it was just kind of like I'm at this space and I didn't know what was what, man. I didn't know what I didn't know. Like I
Killing
don't know
it,
what office hours were. Like I didn't know what resources were available. Like
killing
oftentimes I
it.
was the only person who looked like me. You know what I'm saying? So there was just so much things that on top of like I'm the oldest of four, right? I'm have this responsibility to my family. I'm working and now I'm not working, so that salary is gone. Keep in mind this is in like the 2009 recession, right? Because I went to Davis in 2011, so different financial situation. So things like imposter syndrome, things like hope, like homesickness, things like culture shock, all of that controlled my first couple of years at Davis.
Hmm.
And being 7 hours away, keep in mind, California is a big state. So UC Davis was the closest University of California school to me, and it was still 7 hours away from my familia, right? So there's this constant tension of like, I'm miserable here, but I made it out. So if I don't make it, then what is that showing my younger siblings? So I kind of
Got
like
you.
suffered through a couple of years, man, because I graduated in five, and the first 3.5 were just absolutely miserable. But kind of like a tale of two cities, that's where the education opportunity program came in. Because they provided two things. One was a comunidad that really provided like the navigational, the cultural, and the social capital and support
Hmm.
necessary to like really transform my experience there and for me to make it my own. And I was an advisor to students who had similar backgrounds as I did. So I was able to be like, yo, this is how I messed up. You know, I'm not telling you what to do, but here's a perspective for you to take into consideration when you're making your decisions because you're an adult. So, like me sharing my personal testimony with students and just through meeting with them and vibing and getting to know them as human beings and the students, they built like a more intersectional mindset that I ever did. So it got to the point where like my students had an understanding of the institution before they started, because we had like a summer program
Yeah, yeah,
where they
yeah.
came in before their first year. So they knew everything that I knew by the time I graduated, pretty much before they even started. So instead of like the university defining their experience, they were already trying to figure out how to define their experience at the university.
Right.
And that was really to set the framework for like me just continuing to work in the space for like student populations that are often marginalized in higher ed.
Yeah, man. And again, as I listen to you, I just hear legacy came to my mind, right? That was the word that came to my mind. Like through your laying of the tracks, so to speak, through your struggles, you was able to create a legacy because as you mentioned earlier, like you're not just doing something that a new employee book is telling you to do. Like you're giving them information off of lived experiences, man. So they couldn't help but to feel what you laying down. You know what I'm saying? So I'm starting to see the picture of like how this is all coming together, right? And trust me, I understand the unemployment after graduation. Two times it happened, you know what I'm saying? Undergrad and grad school for me. But